Mark Calder smoked the entire stadium with a long time, and that car just made a sudden right turn there, just a half-track and into the wall very hard. Safety safari right on the drivers. He came to his side.
Dramatic indeed. The good news, Tim Tindall walks away A-OK.
It's going to be a good race.
And so with bad blood to fuel them and a championship on the line, the race was on.
You are 100% helpless. 300, 330 miles an hour. When a car breaks in half, or in that case, a wing comes off, there's nothing you can do except tuck your arms in, and I didn't even have time for that.
Goodness, the wing came off Tony's car.
Tony broke his leg and suffered a serious concussion in this monster crash.
And scary crashes, perhaps in the history of the sport. During qualifying in Dallas, Bruce Allen lost control of his car, veered into the other lane, went airborne, and that's where Kenny Koretsky had full head of steam and no way of seeing Bruce Allen. Both Allen and Koretsky said they were lucky to have survived this unbelievable crash.
I really didn't see anything. It just all happened so quick, and what a testimonial to the new Jerry Bickle chassis and the safety of NHRA and the impact safety belt.
Through every incident like this, NHRA, the chassis builders, everybody sat down and go over these cars with a fine-tooth comb, and they go through and make everything that's weak better and try and make a better mousetrap, so to speak.
This time, it's Alexis DeJoria. Now she is over on the right side of your screen. Her parachutes deploy but just disappear. Now she is flying for that sand trap.
Boy, the parachutes flew right off of that car. That was a much harder hit, Paul. She went through both of the nets and hit the water barriers. I think the barriers actually filled with sand is what I'm told, and obviously a lot of damage to the front of that car. Looked like it just wadded up the front of that car, but once again, Alexis was able to walk away.
So the system works. Well, it's time for the finals, and we'll start a little something new. Let's go to Dave Reed.
Chris Vandergrift's machine goes up and kept going all the way up, and it's a top fuel blower, and he is rolling down there at the top end of the racetrack. The safety safari will be right.
Deb, a lot of experience. Away, need a shake for Debbie Reed and for Gorsey. Oh, Reed with her hands full. No. Oh. Whoa. That is disastrous. Wow, that was 2 or 3 massive hits for Deb. Well, it looks horrific, but that's what the car's meant to do. It's meant to brake like that as long as that safety cell remains intact. Gorsey's on the scene.
Rick Gorsey, obviously concerned for his fellow racer, and this is when you count and are grateful for the safety mechanisms in these cars.
And the safety crew, they were on that in a flash. The car had barely stopped. Ambulance on its way down there. Aaron Hambridge, Stephen Ham, they're concerned as well.
Whoa! Larry crashes hard right at the finish line. Both cars were kind of hunting towards the center. You can see that Doug's car was moving over there, and Larry's car crashed hard, comes to a stop down in the shutdown area. Safety safari already rolling on the scene. We'll wait until we get word from the top end. Just an incredible incident here. at Gainesville in the third qualifying session at Auto Plus Raceway. We're talking about a car was going close to 300 miles an hour down there, and impossible to tell from this angle exactly what went wrong, but the car got airborne, flying down the racetrack, and has come to a stop up against the concrete wall down there. And we will wait until we hear from the professionals on scene.
Was the scene 3 years ago as Corey McLenithan endured certainly one of the most spectacular crashes in the history of...
When the car began to brake, the engine separated from the driver pod, and the pod slammed into the wall. The first pieces...
Disaster struck at 500 kilometers an hour. Seen here in slow motion, Phil Lamartina's dragster becomes airborne. His chassis disintegrates. He's knocked unconscious. The dragster rolls 3 times. 60 litres of nitromethane explodes as he hits the barrier. The front wheels left behind as Phil, in the centre of the fireball, crashes into a second concrete wall.
Before, if you remember back in 2001 when he was racing in Top Fuel, John Smith was over in the right lane. There was Gary in the old Winston Top Fueler. And when this run started, we had no idea how bad it was going to end up. Worst news, poor John Smith came out of it the worse for wear. Gary was able to walk away, but John ended up with a fracture in his leg.
Like that.
Whoa!
Oh, hang on, Brittany! Brittany's car smokes the tires, gets sideways, crosses the center line, pancaked the left wall, came back across the track, and it has come to a stop down at the far end. The safety safari on the scene. When Terry Haddock smoked the tires, the first thing I thought was no, and moments later, that was the best thing I've seen so far today, because he wasn't there when she came across the racetrack and smacked into the left wall. A crazy run.
Castellano, whoa, hang on there with them Corvettes. Woo, boy. Oh, Sidney got some oh, hang on there, Sidney Frigo. Into the wall, top end, over and over, and a wild one there. Is Sidney moving around. And you saw that car as he tried to stay with it, lifted, got back. Unfortunately, that baby just all of a sudden, Joe Costello, of course, he went 584, 9, 236. Mike Castellano at 592.4. But a wild run there as Sidney, unfortunately, Joe saw that baby get down there and it was moving around. He lifted and got back in it. Doing the chase. And here comes Don. Ooh, Don. Whoa, Monty's car makes a move there. Nice save. Whoa, Monty Green over. Don Kwiatkowski also into the wall at the top end there, as I believe he got into the parachute of Monty Green's car there. Don Kwiatkowski will take the win, but nobody cares right now. As you saw Monty's car get loose there and make a move, and I thought he saved it. But then it came over into Don Kwiatkowski's lane, and Don appeared to get into the wall at the top end there, trying to avoid Monty. It's just a wild one there. But the safety safari on the move at the top end there to check out the condition of both drivers. So an unfortunate incident.
Oh, hang on, Alan. Alan Pruszynski's chute came out late. That car went upside down into the wall. You saw the big fireball. Now, the fuel tank on a Pro Stock car is right out in front, and that's why it exploded like it did. The car is coasting to a stop with the fire out at the top end of the racetrack, but a very scary moment for Alan Pruszynski.
Side of your screen launches fine. Now Larry Dixon carries the front end. Schumacher stays in the gas, and then the car just breaks apart, sending debris all over the racetrack as Tony comes back down to earth, encapsulated in the driver's compartment and able to walk away from what was a horrific-looking incident. The car seems to be working just perfectly, with no visual clues as to why it could not withstand the forces of the run before it disintegrates. Schumacher is launched into the Tennessee sky.
Those of you watching on Any Trail Access, it is a stunning thing to see a car this big. There's a bunch of sparks that fly off the car at about 330 feet, and then the wheelie bar just folds up like a piece of licorice, and this thing turns over, and the most classic-looking blowover you've probably ever seen in your life as the car turns and does a barrel roll, kind of 180 rotation, lands on the wheels, turns up on the cage, and then slides through the shutdown area. The rear end locked up at one point, and that was kind of the last flop. When the thing, the
session of full throttle qualifying, the Lucas Oil Series was in eliminations. Look at the car on the left side. That is Mike Austin of Medford, Oregon. Grazes over the wall, hits a second wall, and then slides down and hits and knocks over a third concrete barrier. And you know what? Veteran driver. He actually finished 5th in the points in the Lucas Oil Series in 2010. But what you're seeing is a tribute to the design.
Oh, hold on, Steve Torrence. Steve Torrence wins the race, but more importantly, we got to make sure he's okay inside of the cockpit.
Well, let's look for some movement. We see some movement from the helmet, and this is good news that Steve is getting out of the car.
And it was Monroe Guest's moment.
Wrong side of Brandon Gecko. Monroe's going to get the win, but look at the tires. Blows out at the finish line, crosses in front of Brandon. He hits just behind the back of the car. Boy, a horrendous wreck.
Yeah, but the good news is he's fine. They're both fine. And guess what? Second round of Nitro. That'll be coming up next.
Won in the Budweiser King in the first round today. Son Brandon went for the ride of his life. The car got out of control, hit the wall hard. Brandon up and over, and from that moment on, everyone was holding their breath. Father Kenny didn't even wait for the truck. He went bolting down the quarter mile to see how son Brandon was. The looks of concern because he was complaining of lower back pain. Father really had been in several times himself, but never this way, where he saw his son on his lower back. Now watch again, you're going to see him get out, throttle, get back on. The problem was it was too far sideways when he got back on it and overcorrected, which just sent that car launching into the wall. Pretty hard impact. When I first saw it, I thought it was okay, just kind of rolled up on the wall, but then when we saw it on replay, it went into it very, very hard, and that was that's a tough hit right there.
Johnny had to rattle it. Oh, kaboom for John Force. He blows the body completely off of it, comes across in front of Johnny Lindbergh, and the two of them get together. A scary moment here at Wild Horse. They're now tied into each other's parachutes, but John Force's car just exploded at the finish line. A scary moment here at Wild Horse.
Up by the center line, he punched the goat. Oh, huge crash!
Huge crash for Chad Green. The car flying upside down, righting itself on the wheels as it went across the finish line stripe. But Chad Green, as we just got done talking about his on the right.
Well, and the car on the left will probably see the blocks fly over to the other side. I'm not positive that possibly something in the timing lights could have went over there, could have cut a tire on John's car. I mean, obviously that's just speculation, but you did see the pieces come over there. So, I mean, Kenny Burns, he was disqualified from the run when he hit those blocks, giving the win to John. But then, obviously, the problems set in there.
Oh, left turn, Alan Johnson. Oh, he's crossed the center line. Give it to B. Gates, who's got a handful. Gage into the wall, upside down. Brings it to a stop. Oh, you can see V moving around in there. That is the best news. Very scary incident. That's that same left lane Shane Gray had a problem in 2012. That home-built race car destroyed.
He looks okay. I mean, he's taking his belts off. He's shutting all the switches off. Doesn't look too nervous, definitely moving around. So that was a great setup as much as the track. The down track is definitely a track issue there. Boy, that was the best thing right there was when start very well when they finally get all four and stop.
Wow, Bo didn't go 5 feet. Kenny Delco goes 6.9. Whoa! Kenny Delco passed the finish line. That car hung a hard left, went into the wall and on its roof. It was straight down to a 697 and 196, but past the finish line, that thing took a hard left and a wild ride through the shutdown area. Safety team is already rolling down there to check on Kenny, and we'll just wait until we get an official word from the far end.
Great to have Daniel Wilkerson back for his first appearance of 2013. But back in 2009, he had this very scary incident in Memphis. Well, Mike Dunn talked with the second-generation racer about how he reacted, while his father Tim explained what happened and how he fixed it.
Kramer's car pushes over out of the groove. He's trying to hang with it. He made the right choice. Whoa! Derek pedaled it, tried to get back after it, gets it sideways over into the wall and up on its roof in the shutdown area. Derek Kramer's car shook, rattled the tires, moved over out of the groove. He was fighting with it. It looked like he took his foot off the throttle, and just when I was about to say that was the wise choice, he tried to get back after it. You know they've got enough power in that Hemi to run down there in that 680 zone, and I think Derek just so desperately wanted to qualify. Got back on the gas with the car out of the groove. And saw it come sideways across the track, upside down, into the left guard wall. It tumbled through the shutdown area to safety.
Oh no! Oh no! We're just watching these. We're waiting for the emergency crews to get down to that accident. Yeah, I don't know what a. Yeah.